So, if you're trying to build something, you know the dream, right? But what about the nightmare? Today, we're breaking down the 5 essential lessons from Ben Horowitz's legendary book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. This isn't a guide based on theory, it was forged in the fire of real-world crisis.
And look, Horowitz kicks things off with this for a really good reason. Because if you've ever been a founder or a leader of any kind, you know this feeling deep in your bones. The hard part isn't the big idea. It's that 3 a.m. moment when it feels like everything is about to come crashing down.
And that's the key difference right there. Most business books give you a map for when the sun's out and the seas are calm. This is your compass for the hurricane, for when you have to lay off people you care about, when your entire market just disappears overnight, and when there are just no easy answers. It's about pure, gritty survival.
All right, so that brings us to lesson number 1. And it starts with the one emotion every single leader feels, but almost no one ever wants to talk about: pure, raw fear. Horowitz's point is simple. How you handle that fear? Well, that's everything.
And check this out. This is such a powerful insight. When faced with a terrifying decision, the hero and the coward, they feel the exact same intense fear. The feeling itself doesn't define you. Not at all. The only thing that actually matters is what you do next.
I mean, think about it through the lens of one of the oldest leadership stories we have, right? The ultimate story of facing down a challenge that seems absolutely impossible.
Let's be real, David was probably terrified out of his mind, but we remember him for one simple reason. While everyone else was completely paralyzed by their fear, he acted. Great leaders aren't fearless, they just act while they're afraid.
Okay, so action is key. But how do you know what action to take? Well, lesson 2 is kind of a tough pill to swallow, especially if you're looking for an easy answer. And it's this: there are no shortcuts.
Horowitz puts it perfectly. No book, no MBA, no weekend seminar can really get you ready. The only thing that teaches you how to run a company is the messy, chaotic, real-world act of running the company, especially when things get hard. You learn by doing.
And you know what? Relying on that conventional wisdom can actually be worse than knowing nothing at all. Why? Because a prepackaged formula can blind you to the reality of your specific situation. Starting from scratch forces you to actually think, to analyze, and to come up with a solution that fits the problem you're really facing.
Now, when you find yourself in one of those uniquely terrible situations, your first instinct is probably damage control, to try and soften the blow. Lesson 3 demands you do the absolute opposite: tell the truth.
I mean, just imagine it for a second. The numbers are terrible, a new product just completely failed, your biggest client just walked, your company's in a nosedive. What is the very first thing you have to do?
The answer is so simple, but man, it is not easy. You have to tell the truth. Not a softened version, not a delayed version, the whole, unvarnished, painful truth to everyone right away.
And look, this isn't just about morality. It's about pure strategy. One lie can destroy years of trust you've built. But the truth? It instantly recruits every single brain in your company to start working on a solution. And besides, bad news always gets out. It is so much better if it comes from you.
Okay, so the truth is out there, the problem's on the table. Where do you, as the leader, put your attention? This brings us to lesson 4, which says that your focus is your single greatest superpower.
If you're a leader, your day can feel like this, right? Just completely consumed by things that feel urgent but aren't actually that important. Endless meetings, a bottomless inbox, putting out small fires. Meanwhile, the real company-defining work, that gets squeezed into this tiny fraction of the day, if it gets done at all. Your primary job, your main responsibility as a leader, is to protect and expand that 5%. It's about focusing all your energy on the huge, complex, terrifying decisions that nobody else can make. The ones that will literally determine the success or failure of the entire company. And that leads us perfectly into our final lesson. If you're supposed to be focusing on the big picture, how do you empower your team to handle everything else? Well, it all comes down to leading with goals, not with tasks.
The difference here is simple, but it is profound. You can tell your team exactly what to do. That's micromanaging tasks. Make 100 calls today. Or you can tell them what you need them to achieve. That's setting a goal. Get 10 new sales today. One approach creates robots, the other creates owners.
See, when you set a clear goal, you give your team the power to figure out the how. Maybe cold calls aren't the best way. Maybe they have a totally different idea.
You unleash their creativity and you empower them to find better solutions. And that is how you build a truly great team.
And so, we come right back to where we started. After walking through these 5 lessons, this quote kind of hits differently now, doesn't it? It's not just a poetic line anymore, it's a reality you can actually prepare for.
Ultimately, Horowitz isn't offering a magic wand here. There is no secret formula for the hard things. What he provides is a set of principles, a compass that can help you find your bearings when you are navigating the darkest, most confusing moments of leadership.
Because make no mistake, they are coming. For any leader, any entrepreneur, any creator, the hard things are inevitable. So the only real question left is the one right here on the screen. How will you respond?